Nature's wealth, good for the health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show. And I am excited today because ever since I met this guest today, I've been wanting to have him on my show. When I met him, he was 103 years old. Now he's 108 years old. And he's visiting here, his daughter here in Miami, and I live in West Palm Beach, so he's from Arizona, and I was going to wait till March to get him on an interview, but we got him here today, so we're going to interview him. His name is Bernando, and he's 108 years old, and we're going to talk to him about a lot of things. So say hello, Bernando.
Hello there, how are you? I hope your life's wonderful. I feel great.
Wonderful.
Happy to hear my friend here with me. First of all, I was told by my father over 100 years ago that the first priority in life should be your health. And of course, he gave me a lot of advice, and I tried to follow it up to now. Eating properly, not eating too much, and the proper things I live on. Fruit, vegetables, green vegetables more or less, and fish, and lots of juice. And of course, I eat in the daylight. I'm not much on night eating. I try to have my lunch, my breakfast after I have my walk, which is every morning, about a mile and a half. And then behind that, I come back and I have my superfood and my fruit, the toast, whole wheat toast, and a cup of sassafras tea or cinnamon tea. Prevention is, my daddy says it's much easier to prevent something than it is to cure it. So my reason for that is I was told that cinnamon was great for diabetes. And of course I don't want to get diabetes, so I've been using cinnamon tea for a number of years now. And I find that it's very helpful because 85% that people I talk with, they have diabetes, either one or two. And I read an article some time ago that the average kid in America, by the time it's 12 years old, has #1 diabetes and not even aware of it. That is because you go into the bank, you find lollipops. You go to the post office, they got to give the child so it will not cry, and so forth and so on. So they have #1 diabetes before they even know anything about diabetes, can't even pronounce the word. So I've followed those laws that my father gave me until today. I still get up to have my walk. Exercise you can take. It's beautiful, but it's the cheapest. People don't seem to want to do it. Eating, they kill themselves with eating. All of it. I don't even want to go into these spots where they stop to kill themselves. If you have a regular time to eat, and not too much, and of course the proper diet, which is green vegetables, fruit, juice, and fish. I've been living on it for years. I was a chef on the liners for many years, and they used to laugh at me. Geez, this guy eats crazy. You never see him eat a piece of meat. Blah, blah, blah. I say, well, you may call it crazy, but it suits me. But all those fellas now are dead.
Was there a certain age where you said, this isn't just a normal thing here, this is pretty special?
I was about 23 years of age when I started to work on the George Washington. And I noticed that they didn't have anything which I had been accustomed to eating, and I bought my own stuff. I started with my cinnamon tea. I started with my regular vegetables that I ate before, because on ship they were fresh vegetables then. I'm talking about over 50 years ago, because I retired in '57, September the 7th. And I ate good for many years. Of course, we had a better fruit then because it didn't have all the chemicals and whatnot in it that it has now. Everything was fresh, more or less. Fruits we get from the tropics, which was around Jamaica and the coast of Cuba and down as far as Panama and back.
Just to give somebody an idea of your age, I remember when I was driving with you when we were hanging out last time, and you told me before they were called the Yankees.
Oh yes, oh yes, that's I certainly do. Well, I remember when Babe Ruth came to him before. Oh yes, I remember the Yankees. They were called the Highlanders. They named them the Yankees way after that.
So you saw Babe Ruth play baseball?
Oh, Babe, I saw them all. Lou Gehrig, I was there when he retired. I was there when he came. I know the history of the baseball, the Yankees. As a matter of fact, I'm still a Yankee fan.
Wow.
I'll always be a Yankee fan.
Wow. So tell us, getting back to your health tips and everything else, you tell us you eat mostly fruits and vegetables and a little fish. Other than fish, do you eat any other animal products, such as any dairy or any meat?
No, I'll tell you. There's one meat that I eat, and that's about once a year. That's lamb. And of course I do that because of the fact it was served at the Lord's Supper. I don't know anywhere in the Bible where it mentions steak or chicken or anything of that nature. Lamb. As a matter of fact, I saw a show about a month ago, and I forgot the name of the show now, but it was showing how the meats and chickens and everything were raised in America. And if you saw that show, I don't think anybody would bother with meat anymore.
What about dairy products, such as milk or cheese?
No, I don't. I might have a little cheese once in a while, but that's once in a while, because we go back to moderation. You can have a steak once in a while. You can have a drink once in a while. But if you're going to crowd your system with it, it's not going to deal. I've never been sick. I've lived many years.
And what do you eat now, and how has that changed from when you were younger in terms of the amount of food?
It's about the same, really, because I eat more because I'm a man now as a child. But so far as eating, we had a certain time to eat, and we all sat down at the table to eat dinner together or lunch together. Well, not lunch so much, because I come home from school, and the housekeeper would fix me a salad and perhaps a baked apple. That was my lunch. We had dinner between 4 and 5 every day. That would be vegetable or fish, something of that nature. Sometimes it'd just be a vegetable plate, and another time we might have fish with it. But it was always green vegetable and fruit.
And how many times a day do you normally eat?
3 times, but my breakfast, as I told you earlier, that's very light. I might have a slice of whole wheat toast, some peanut butter. This is all organic. It even has nuts in it. And a cup of my cinnamon tea. That's it. Now I have a bowl of fruit, which is mostly mixed fruit, cantaloupe. I love cantaloupe, and besides, cantaloupe has an awful lot of good in it for you, the system. Blueberries is the top of the list for me. I eat blueberries every day. And the juice from perhaps on one orange, I squeeze the orange because I like the pulp. I eat fish about 3 times a week.
3 times a week you eat fish?
That is fresh fish, but now I may have a can of sardines, which is in olive oil or oil, or I may have tuna fish and make a salad out of that. But the salad is only onion, celery, and olive oil.
And the fish that you eat, other than the tuna fish and the sardines, what kind of fish do you eat?
Salmon. Sometimes I'll have flounder once in a while, which is fillet.
And when you eat the fish, how much in size would you say it is? Would you say it's 4 ounces, 8 ounces?
About 4 to 5 ounces.
So it's a small amount.
Yes, I don't eat much of it.
Do you take any supplements at all? Any vitamins or minerals or anything? I know you told me.
Well, I'll tell you about that. I met a gentleman quite a few years ago, Dr. Schultz, and he had through Dr. Christopher. I met him. Dr. Christopher, one of the greatest herbologists in the world. As a matter of fact, I went to his school, and so did Dr. Schultz. And he had a formula called, it's Schultz's superfood. It was just Schultz's food, but now it's superfood because he improved it. And I'll tell you the truth, it works. It really works. Because it has every nutrient that the body needs. And of course, if you use that with 2 shots of echinacea, you'll never get a cold. I lived in New York, and in all years without a cold.
So how often do you do the superfood?
Every morning.
Every morning.
Never miss.
Could you give us a few non-diet related health tips?
Well, stress will kill you. That's what my daddy told me when I was a kid. In the Garden of Eden, when God left Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, he didn't leave no hamburgers, he didn't leave no hot dogs, or nothing like that, fried chicken or spare ribs. He left fruit and vegetables. So that hit me. Fruit and vegetable must be healthy. So the more I ate it, the better it tastes, I continued. As a matter of fact, as I can remember, I don't remember where, reading in the Bible, where anybody ate cooked food prior to the flood. After the flood, then they started. You got commercial and hungry for money, so they decided to change things. But it didn't change me too much because, as the Bible says, moderation. Daddy taught me all this. As a matter of fact, he gave me the 10th commandment. I still have it. It's regular now. All this as much as you possibly can. He says, I know you can't go all the way with it. He said, if 1/3 of the world would follow the 10th commandment, it would be a marvelous place to live. He said, that's why God said, he forgave you 99 times because he knew you were going to sin. And I thought about that. The older I got, the more I got involved in things he had told me when I was young. He said to me one time, you don't gamble, so what are you doing in a gambling joint? You don't drink, so what are you doing in a bar? You're married, so you got no business in a house review. So he says, if you stay away from those places that the devil has everything out there for you to tempt you. And he gets you tempted, he knows whiskey will upset your brain. And you ease it from your leg. So stay away from that whiskey. Just eat vegetables and fruit, what God left into the Garden of Eden, and you'll be a healthy man. He says, you'll live a long time. And it's proven. I'm 108, and I feel good.
So how old did your dad live to?
98.
98.
98.
You ended up coming out with a book.
That's right. Eat less and live more. Oh, I must have been 100, yes, I was 100. And my son-in-law, he had a business in Charlotte, and I was in North Carolina at the time. And I invited him over for lunch. He came over and brought a couple of friends with him. I fixed lunch for him. So he says to me, you know, you should write a book. So I said, well, why? Why should I write a book? He said, I'm looking at you in the kitchen, and you're over 100, he said. Because I just had my 100th birthday. You're dancing around in the kitchen just like you did when I first met you 20 years ago. So I said, well, I feel good. And I think the results of that is the way I've lived till this time. So he says, you ever have a cold? I said, no, colds and things, that's not for me. I said, I do everything to prevent a cold. My father said, 1 ounce of prevention is worth 1,000 pounds of cure. I said, I heard it a lot of times since then, but the first man I heard say that was my daddy. 1 ounce of prevention is worth 1,000 pounds. So you don't get it, you don't have to cure it. So I've fought all my life to keep from getting these things by eating the way I told you, drinking plenty of water, and getting my rest. The rest is very important. I used to talk to the fellows about their feet. Feet is very important. My daddy said to me, keep your feet clean of dirt and of crust and whatnot. I said, well, how do you do that, Daddy? He said, your feet are tied up all day long in a tight shoe and socks. They can't breathe. He said, the skin has to breathe. If you breathe, and put olive oil on it, he says, you will not get wrinkles. And aside from that, he said, I'm going to tell you, don't shave yet. I don't think you'll be shaving soon because I didn't shave until I was 20-something. He said, after you shave, never mind the sweet stuff that they put on your face, smells sweet. He said, take a dab of olive oil and rub it on constantly. He said, it doesn't take much. He said, it'll go in there. You just keep rubbing it. He said, your skin will stay smooth for a long while. I said, you see, you look at my skin now, and the average man, you find half my age. I said, he's starting to wrinkle or something drying out. Mine is not dry at all. I still use olive oil. And about the feet, coming back to that, I used to have to bathe my feet every night. He said, told the housekeeper, while he's studying his lesson, we should get that tub and put lukewarm water just above the temperature of his blood and put some Castile soap in it. Now, they don't have that around, I don't think, anymore. Castile soap. And he said, let him soak while he's studying his lesson. And by the time he's finished studying his lesson, you take a pumice stone and take all the... She said, but doctor, he has no dead skin on there yet. She said, I don't want it to ever get there. And if you take the pumice stone and rub it off and then dry it, get some olive oil, I'll give you some. And you don't need much, he said, and rub it good. And then he had her a pair of white socks. He said, put these socks on. They were half socks. They didn't come all the way up. He said, that would prevent the sheep from getting greasy. He said, it wouldn't get greasy anyway. The olive oil goes right in, and it does. You try it sometime. You rub it, and it goes right in.
So you have that tip and all these other tips in your wonderful book and your book just came out like last year.
That's right.
So it has 107 years of your knowledge in that book.
That's right.
Age Less, Live More. I recommend everyone get this book because you have pictures in there of how you grew up.
That's right.
Wonderful stories from your dad.
That's right.
And and it's an amazing book.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. Let's give your 3 top health tips for the viewers out there.
Well, number 1 is keep your colon clean. If you keep your colon clean, everything else in the body can do its job. The kidneys can do it. The liver can do its job properly. The kidneys can do its job, and of course the liver, that's the purifier. If you keep your colon clean, the liver can do its job properly. And if you don't do it, if you don't do what I told you to do, what's going to happen? You're going to get sick. And of course there is this formula that I told you about called Dr. Schultz's superfood. That is terrific. But you have to take it in the right manner. You mix it with fruit in the morning and juice. Doesn't have to be organic. It's wonderful if you do get organic, but if you can't, blend it together with a squirt of echinacea plus, and I guarantee you, you will stay well on and on and on. It has worked for me. Worked for my whole family, as a matter of fact.
So tip number 1 would be keep your colon clean.
That's number 1.
Tip number 2 is Dr. Schultz Superfood.
That's right.
And what's tip number 3?
A regular eating, and do not bother with this. The worst thing you can do in the morning, you end up having a cup of coffee and donuts. It kills you right off. That first thing you know, you got diabetes. You don't even realize.
Sure. So tip number 3 is to avoid fast food restaurants.
That's in a nutshell. And not too much. And stay away from going to the theaters late at night and stopping off having a meal before you go home and go to sleep. Have your meal, your dinner that you're going to sleep on between the hour of 5 and no later than 7. Because you go to bed around 9 or 9:30. So I wouldn't just suggest that you pack yourself with anything. You can drink water, that's perfectly all right. You can even have a cup of green tea, that wouldn't hurt you. But packing your food with your stomach with a lot of heavy food, like people go and have steaks and chops and roast beef and all that kind of stuff, it's too late at night. You're laying there, you're not exercising, and what happens? You wake up in the morning, you feel soggy, but if you eat, like I tell you, you wake up in the morning feeling good. But try to do your feet practically every night.
Okay.
That's important.
Great.
And they take you around. You can't do anything without your feet, you know. And next is your eyes. Take care of that, because without eyes and feet, you're lost.
And your vision and your eyesight and your hearing is excellent at this age.
Excellent. I have an examination every year. I just had an examination 2 months ago. And the doctor examined me all the way through. PSA was 3. He said he's been practicing medicine for 30 years. He never saw a man of 108 years of age or a person with a body like mine. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to drop dead the next minute. But you got a better chance than the guy that overloads his stomach with crap.
Now, there are some people out there that have lived over 100 years old that smoke and drink and so on.
Yes.
And what would you say, like...
But they're not healthy. Because they cannot get a cup of coffee to their mouth without spilling half of it on them. My hand is just as level now as ever. They're not one all. And the other way, that's no good. Your family feels sorry for you. Your friends feel sorry for you because you tried to have a cup of coffee, and when you wind up this, your whole is wet. You got to change it. If not, you have to have a bib in front of you.
Sure. So you read my new book, The Daylight Diet, about not eating.
Terrific. It took me an hour, and I sat there and I read it and I watched it. Oh, it's wonderful. I think it's marvelous.
Great, great. Well, thank you for that. And so tell us, here's a copy of your book. You can hold that up to the camera. And it actually says on there, it says the title, Age Less, Live More, at 107, but now you're 108. So
right.
It's amazing. So, you know, and do you have any idea what age you think you're going to live to? Or
I'm shooting for 120. Everyone asks me when I go to church, how old do you think? I say, well, I'm trying to give Abraham a run for his money. I think he made 140 or something.
Sure, sure. And just turn to the back of your book there.
All the history of me is there.
All the history in the back of the book and everything else, and it's just a wonderful book. Questions for Bernando, you could just post them below this video here, and when I see him, I'll share these questions with him, and we can get him on video again, answering the questions. So if you have questions for him, just post them below the video, and I'll get them over to him, and he will answer them. The next time we get together in March, I'll sit with him with the questions, and we'll go through all of them.
And don't forget to try the book.
Okay.
All the information you need is in there. Just follow it.
And now what we're going to do is we're going to show Bernando. Now, he's just sitting down and relaxing, but he doesn't need to be sitting down like most 108-year-old people. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to break away for a second, and we're going to remove his chair and have him walk towards the camera. So you're going to see this man walks better than most people at like 70 years old, and he looks like he's 60. So this isn't just somebody just talking talk. He's really walking the talk. So we're just going to break away from here for a second. Here he is, Bernardo. Come on, look at him. All right, look at that. This man is 108 years old, and he's in great shape, great health. And well, thank you very much, Bernando, and we'll see you again soon. And
have a great day and a great royal life.
All right, everybody. There's a 108-year-old man with a 1-year-old baby. What year were you born, Bernando?
August 17th, 1901.
Wow, so it's been a long time since you were 1 year old, but. You see that, Noah? There goes a nice young man there, nice and young-looking, healthy guy. That's how Mom and Dad want to look at 108.
She's looking like that.
Yeah. All right. Any questions you have, Andrea, for Bernando?
No, I'm just glad to see Bernando and meet him again. So.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Noah, any questions you have?
You go ahead.
All right, great. Well, thank you again, and you just have a great day, and keep up the great work.
My name is Bernando LaPallo, and I'm telling everyone, keep your colon clean and have a great day, and you'll have a wonderful life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.